All right, students, I'm gonna work on some sand art here. Sand, when you're doing kind of a flat work, requires a hard surface so that it doesn't crumble off. If I were to do sand art on paper, I could flex the paper and the sand would just crumble right off. So a piece of wood, sometimes canvas or canvas board, or maybe even cardboard that was strengthened with popsicle sticks behind it or something that wouldn't flex. So I drew an eagle here on this wood. You can paint a background. You can completely cover your artwork with sand, or it can be a combination. I like to go with acrylic paints when I work on wood. They are permanent. They don't wash off of your clothing. They work better on a wood surface. They're going to be a little more bold and vibrant. And with temper, I would probably need a couple layers. A few things to remember with working with acrylics. Use the ceramic tray, the ones that are hard like glass. It'll scrub off of there a lot easier. And keep your brushes sitting in water when you're not using them to paint, because when the paint dries on the brush is ruined. So just be careful with them. They're pretty awesome. So I'm going to put a little bit, I'm going to go with, I know the beak's going to be yellow, so I'm going to try to go with a lot of purple in my sky, because I know that purple and yellow can really kind of show contrast, and the purple can help the yellow stand out a little bit. So I'm going to go with some blue and purple in my sky, and I'm going to paint the background instead of covering this entire artwork with sand. So I'm going to get a little water on my brush to help the paints flow a little bit better, and start working in. Yeah, I can tell already it's probably going to take 2 layers. So I'm going to go ahead and cover, and I've got a soft brush that will push the paint on a little bit thicker than, and I can go over my pencil lines because I'm going to hit those with glue, but I've got a soft brush here, and it can put the paints on thicker than a stiff brush. A stiff brush will push them on really thin. So that's why I chose this brush. The brush you choose for a job is really important. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this, get the background painted, and then see you at the next step. Okay, I blended the paint on the background, and I've got just good old regular Elmer's glue. I open it up all the way, and then I started twist. I open it up all the way, and I did a little test fire, like how thick is the glue coming out, and then I twist it down a little bit. I want to get it where it will barely come out so I can draw with some accuracy, have more control over the glue. So I adjust the nozzle a little bit. Then I'm going to draw the outlines only on my image. And then if I wanted to do the beak yellow, I'm going to give it a black border, but I could give it a yellow border. And I'm going to give it a yellow fill. I'm going to do the border first, let that dry, and then I can go back and fill it, and I'll have control over the whole area. I've got this yellow paper here. It's in the bottom drawer by the mirror, over by the sinks. I chose this paper because, and I'm gonna wipe some of this glue off of here, because after I dump the sand on the glue, I can dump the extra sand off onto this yellow paper. Then I can fold the yellow paper and slide all that color back into the container. You should only do one color at a time so that we're not mixing colors of sand, and more people can make more art without messing up the colors. So now I'm going to start drawing with the glue. Let me wipe off my hands. And I'm going to try to do it very carefully. And it's okay if I go over the paint. And if I drag it on the surface, I have a little bit more control over my line. And I don't want to do a whole lot of glue work without sprinkling, because the glue will start to dry and the sand won't stick. Go back over this area here, make it a little more solid. So I'm going to sprinkle that before it starts to dry. And all I got to do is open up my color. And my acrylic paint is, I probably should have hit it with the heat gun to make sure that the sand is not going to stick to wet acrylic paint. I'm going to give this glue a healthy amount of black, and then I can come back to it on another day and hit it with my yellow on the inside of the beak. So projects like this means I might have two projects going at once. Maybe I work on some type of drawing while I'm waiting for the sand, because this might only take me 10 or 15 minutes a day. So then I need the rest of the hour to be creative, and then the next time I have art, I could take this out, add some more glue, add some more color. And after, it might take 3 or 4 days to get it all finished, but it'll look pretty cool. All right, so I let it dry overnight, and now the sand is ready to dump off of there. I can dump that off onto my yellow paper. That yellow paper is in the bottom drawer, and that acrylic paint was not all the way dry, so I learned a lesson from that mistake. Next time I will make sure it's all the way dry. I can touch up that paint area a little bit later. So that's looking pretty good. Now I can fill, oh, I forgot to do that little spot right there. I can go back and hit that later. Now I can fill in this area inside the black sand, and that's like a barrier to contain my glue. Now I can do a puddle, and the puddle will not get away from me. I'll go back and hit that little nostril thing later. And you can also try getting a little cup and putting your glue in a cup, getting a tiny paintbrush, painting your glue in so you have more control over it. Get that glue in there. Sometimes you have to kind of go heavier in the middle and just let it run its way over to a spot. And before I sprinkle that, I need to fold my paper, move that out of the way. I can try to let that glue run into that little spot right there in the corner a little bit. All right, I'm gonna fold my paper like this, take off the lid of the black, and this saves the sand, saves money, and saves the colors for other people. Take that paper and dump all that sand down back in there so it can be reused and not thrown away. And I want to completely be finished with one color. Put it away before I get out another color. That way we don't mix the colors and ruin them. Okay, now there's my glue, yellow sand. Go ahead and sprinkle that. And you can blend colors too. I could sprinkle, if I wanted a little bit of orange in here, I could, if I wanted like a yellow orange, I could sprinkle a dab of orange and then finish it with the yellow. But then I would not want to try to save those sand particles because they would be mixed. And the black is completely dry, so I don't need to worry about the yellow touching the black. No, I see some white glue up here. Just put a little extra in there. And then after that, I'll work on an outline around the eagle for my white. And then I would fill that middle. So this is going to take several days. I'm just going to let the yellow dry for a day and then go back at this.